Next is voice modulation. Voice modulation is done to change the different properties of your voice to make the presentation more effective. It is change in stress, pitch, loudness, and an inflection of the voice which gives your voice mood, meaning, and makes it sound more attractive. The most important responsibility of an anchor is to avoid monotonous pace in order to make every news story round different. Pauses at different intervals and adding expression to every sentence prevent a monotone. Also, an anchor must change the tone his or her voice before moving on to the next story. Voiceover and narration techniques. A radio program depends on the script, production quality, and also the way of presentation. You may argue that presentation and packaging is part of production quality and that is subsumed into it. However, being an oral medium, the selection of words for the script is as important as the rendering of it presentation. Therefore, it is imperative that the producers of radio presentation techniques for radio and programs should learn about the presentation techniques equally well because that can make or mar the entire production. In our day-to-day communication and conversation, facial expressions and body gestures add a lot of meaning to the spoken words, thereby helping in understanding and adding more impact to the message. But a radio presenter does not have the visual support of such facial expressions and body movements during communication as listeners cannot see him or her, and therefore one has to put more of efforts and creativity into the art of rendering the speech in to make it memorable and impactful. For our understanding, presentation broadly means packaging of the content in a radio program, and technique means art, method, or procedure for attractive and effective presentation. Radio being a medium of sound, radio presenters should possess a pleasant, good quality voice command over the language, dialect of broadcast, good diction, and flawless pronunciation, as well as confidence and flow in speaking. They should have what is called the gift of between the ability to speak and fluency. While the internal hierarchy and the program production team of the organization remain in the background, a listener identifies with the presenters and establishes a rapport with them. These details vary as per the nature and genre of the program. For instance, if it is a talk, then these details include the subject or the title of the talk, the name of the talker, the person delivering the talk, and a very short and crisp introduction to the talker. If it is an interview, then the announcer has to tell the listeners about the subject or theme, the name of the expert or interviewee. Newsreader, the news is an important segment of the programming. You are aware that newsreader reads the script of a bulletin prepared by the news editor and team. However, in some radio stations, just like TV news anchors, newsreaders are also journalists. In such cases, they perform a dual role of journalist come presenter. The first and foremost quality that a newsreader should have is good voice, which is steady but not shrill or jarring. He or she should be fluent in reading with perfect diction, pronunciation, pace, pause, and pitch. The reading should reflect a sense of confidence which comes with a good understanding of the news content included in the bulletin. He or she should have adequate knowledge of the events and happenings within the country and around the world. An aptitude for journalism would be a great asset in this regard. In an emergency or crisis situation, he or she should remain unruffled and be able to present even unrehearsed, handwritten news items flawlessly. Narrator. Artist features and documentaries are among the most popular radio formats. In these programs, the linking narration is the backbone which ties up different channels of content together. When you listen to a radio feature, the first thing that attracts you is the voice of its narrator. Depending on the demands of the theme of feature or documentary, an artist is chosen to do narration so that he or she can enhance the effect of the program with his or her unique voice quality and narration style suited for that particular program. Voiceover is a term used mainly in television production, in a TV program or documentary when you do not see the speaker on the screen and only his or her voice is used for the program. It is known as voiceover. Voiceover artists these days have a huge role in dubbing dramatic programs or films from one language to the another. These terms basically define the role of a person in an event, activity, or broadcast. Anchor, host, or RJs who host radio program who put together different items seamlessly using sound bites and narratives. Anchors usually conduct and moderate live broadcasts with provision for real-time listeners' participation through phone calls, SMS, emails, etc., along with the participation and interaction with subject matter specialists, experts, and opinion makers normally present in the studio. Anchoring is arguably perhaps most complex of the range of jobs a presenter can undertake. Though we can do it practically better, but still there are some tips and there are some rules what we can follow. Voice, pitch, tone. Voice personality is all about pitch, diction, and modulation of voice. Important components of voice modulation. If you want to be a good radio jockey, you should practice modulating your voice to make your presentation more attractive and effective. The different components of voice modulation are these, and you should take care of these components during voice modulation practices. First is pace. Pace or speed of speaking or reading the news is an important factor that an anchor must take into consideration while anchoring. You must maintain the pace at which audience can understand you properly. If an actor maintains a slow speed while anchoring, viewers may switch the channel out of boredom. If the speed is too fast, viewers may have a hard time understanding what the anchor is saying. Pitch and depth of voice. Pitch or frequency of human voice refers to the rate of vibration of our vocal folds. Higher rate of vibration means higher pitch, and lower rate of vibration means lower pitch or deeper voice. Keep the pitch at a level that is comfortable for you. Pause. An anchor should give pauses at required intervals, especially where there is punctuation. It is given for emphasis and to let the audience absorb your information. Power. An anchor has to create power in voice and make it more commanding by generating intensity in his or her voice. In order to make voice more intense, an anchor should not speak from mouth but from inside the abdomen. Volume. You should not strain your voice to the point of discomfort. Maintain your volume according to the comfort level. Emphasis. Put emphasis by focusing on the keywords in order to bring out their desired meaning. Thank you.